So in this POV, I'm going to focus on light and shadow. It's been quite sunny here in the city, so I thought why not try to capture that contrast between light and shadow. So I'm going to use my 35mm lens, and it's going to be part 2 of the 35mm series. You can find the other one on my channel in the playlist. Let's see what I can catch. Follow along. Nice. Look at all the symmetry here, all the lines. Well, it's not a basketball court. It's actually a football court, soccer court. Oh, nice. Always look for different angles and perspective to take different set of photos. So I found this bowl, this football here, and I think it would make a really nice addition to I think would be a little bit of a boring set because there's no people in here, it's just me. So I'm using the ball as much as possible to create a little bit of that minimalistic photo. And I can probably work with it in post as well. Score! All right, let me head out and see what's also further down. There's I think there was a basketball court further down, but yeah. It's really, really nice weather today. Sometimes you can use these leading lines to frame a shot as well. I just need to focus on not the bars, but what's behind them. A couple of young guys standing at the end. Always remember, detail shots, take your time when you're out there. Train the eye, as I always say, practice. And if you can get a good shot out of it, that's worth your time anyway. And if not, then it's just practice. So the more hours you log in, go out there and train the eye, as I call it, the better it is, the better you will be able to see all the different angles and perspectives. And also, it will help you to be more creative also in the end. I didn't used to be this creative, in my own opinion. I found it very hard to go out and find inspiration, but what I do now is just, have an open mind, be creative in my own sense, what I find is creative for me, and just try to take a photo. And obviously there's some work to be done in post, but that's another thing. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out how I can capture the shadow from the basketball hoop. I'm not sure this is gonna work. So the composition didn't work out as I intended. I put in the raw file so you can see how it looked like. I tried in post to do some magic, but it didn't work out. So sometimes it's okay that you don't get the shot. So after a small coffee break, I just arrived downtown in Copenhagen K, so I'm trying to look for the contrast that I was talking about earlier today. As I was walking down the street, I saw this nice doorway where the light and shadow was in stark contrast. It would have been ideal if there was a subject going through the shadow part of it, but nevertheless, I'm quite happy with the shot. So I am still going to look for the contrast theme that I was talking about earlier with the light and shadow, and up ahead is a really good place that I've been to before I can reveal. I'm just hoping for that there are sunlight enough to get those pockets of light. This was the spot I was talking about earlier, but unfortunately there was no sunlight. So I took an old photo of mine and put it in just to illustrate that light and shadow. So what happened next sometimes happens when you're out on the streets. I wanted to take photos of the two people standing right in front of me, but they saw me with my camera. So I pretended that I was taking photo of something else while actually taking photos of them. And I quickly rushed off. But this is sometimes what happens in street photography. And by the way, it's a really, really cool shot. So this is a really famous street in Copenhagen. I stood here for quite a while to take a perfect shot and realized that it took some time, also because the sun was directly in my face and I had very hard time to read the camera monitor. But eventually, after being here for 15 minutes plus, I nailed a few photos that I really, really liked. Allow yourself to take a few photos from different angles and perspectives, as I always say. In this case, I actually moved around a lot just to see if I could get a different composition. Because the sun was coming from a very hard angle, I tried both high angle and low angles and opposite side, and eventually I managed to capture a really good shot. So at this last spot, I noticed a really cool arch with a lot of light and shadow play. So I tried to take a photo, but I wasn't prepared for the people coming around the corner and I missed the shot. So always remember to take your time, set up, dial your settings, look around for different angles. So I'll just hang out here for a few minutes and see if I can catch maybe a picture without the two people. So basically it's just the light streaks, which can also be very artistic, and then with a person coming by, that could be really great. So I ended up spending almost 20 minutes setting up my tripod and different angles to capture myself, because there wasn't coming any subject that I liked. Either they were a couple or they were walking by really fast, the composition was not okay. So I took out my tripod and set it up, and this is what I captured. Sometimes that's okay too. I hope you learned something different in this POV. The light and shadow and the contrast is actually not that hard. It's just about looking for it when you're out on the streets. Alright, take care. See you in the next one.